Today, we're digging into a single pivotal moment back in 1774 that honestly set the stage for everything that came after. And it wasn't a battle, not yet. It was a meeting, a gathering in a room where the idea of a new nation really started to come to life.
So let me just start with this question. How does a nation really begin? I mean, do you think it starts on a battlefield with the first shot of a war? Or maybe on paper with the signing of some big document? Or does it start somewhere a little quieter? Maybe with just an idea, an idea that gets shared in a room full of people. Just keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this.
To even begin to answer that, we've got to travel back in time. We're going to a specific room in Philadelphia in the year 1774. Because what went down in there wasn't a war, and it wasn't a declaration, but it was the thing that would lead to both of them. This was the gathering that kicked it all off. So, picture this. It's 1774. The American colonies are at an absolute boiling point. Tensions with Great Britain over things like taxes and just basic rights, they're through the roof. So, in a move that was frankly both defiant and kind of desperate, leaders from 12 of the 13 colonies made the trip to Philadelphia for what was basically an emergency summit. And the question on everyone's mind was, what on earth do we do next? Now, this wasn't some informal get-together. This was a formal assembly with a name that would echo through history. And even more important, it had a mission. It had a clear, coordinated, and, for its time, an incredibly bold purpose. They called it the First Continental Congress, and its mission was spelled out perfectly. This was all about creating a unified front. See, they weren't just there to complain. No, they were there to coordinate resistance, to demand their rights as one single voice, and to use a really powerful economic weapon, organized boycotts. And that's exactly what made it so powerful. It was a concrete plan. These weren't just some vague wishes. I mean, look at these steps. Coordinating resistance, that means no single colony would have to stand alone against the British anymore. Demanding rights, that meant speaking with one powerful collective voice. And organizing boycotts, well, that was hitting the British Empire right where it hurt the most, its wallet. This was pure strategy, not just anger.
But as powerful as that plan was, the real revolution, the one that changed everything, was happening in the words people were saying. Behind the scenes, beyond the official agenda, a totally radical new idea was taking hold. A huge shift in how these leaders saw themselves. They weren't just calling us anymore. They were becoming something else entirely. And we can actually see this spark by looking at the words of just 3 key leaders. Because if you listen really closely, you can hear the exact moment when a protest over taxes started to sound a lot more like the birth of a nation. This is where that idea really catches fire.
First, you've got John Adams from Massachusetts. And his words were so simple but absolutely explosive. We must be independent. Now, you have to understand what a massive leap this was. Until then, the main goal was just reform, right? To get better treatment from England. Adams just put total, complete separation on the table. The entire game had just changed in an instant. Then, you have Patrick Henry from Virginia, and he adds this other crucial piece to the puzzle. He gets up and declares, the distinctions between colonies are no more. Just think about what that means. He was basically saying, I'm not a Virginian anymore. I'm an American. Those old, separate identities were starting to just melt away, and a new, shared identity was being forged right there in that room. And finally, Samuel Adams just boils it all down to 2 perfect, powerful words. Union is strength. So simple, right? But that was the entire idea of this Congress. They finally got it. Separately, they were just 13 weak little colonies that could easily be pushed around. But together, well, together they were a force to be reckoned with. This was the principle that would drive absolutely everything to come. So, okay, let's put it all together. You have the plans, you have the boycotts, and you have these incredibly radical new words. What's the result? Well, it's the dawn of a nation. It's that exact moment when an idea starts to become real, to become an action. And that, right there, that's the heart of this whole thing. For the very first time, the colonies weren't just a random collection of separate territories anymore. They were acting like a single, coordinated nation. The idea that was forged in that hall in Philadelphia wasn't just an idea anymore. It was alive. It was taking action. It was speaking with one voice, and it was starting to shape its own destiny. And that brings us right back to where we started. What is the true foundation of a union? Is it just having a common enemy, or a shared goal,
Or is it something a little deeper? Is it that singular moment when a group of people decides that all of the lines that divide them are way less important than the powerful ideas that unite them? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.